Well, hello and welcome to the Sensibility Podcast. I have Cara back on again. As if you've heard one of my recent podcasts, Cara is also a money coach from Savvy Wealth. And if you have been living under a rock, you may know that here in Sydney, we're in lockdown yet again. And I know that the Melbourneites, you've been in lockdown a lot. So I'm sorry I didn't probably do something like this sooner, but it's been quite a challenge for many of us Sydney-siders because of the freedoms we've had for such a long time, and then all of a sudden mandatory lockdown, bunkered down, and possibly for a good 4 to 6 weeks. So this was a good time to have a chat about sort of our mindset and ensuring that we're doing okay and we're sticking to our money goals. And one thing Cara and I were talking offline before was last year when we were in lockdown, I was expecting a lot of my clients to be saving huge amounts of money because they weren't going out and weren't traveling, all sorts of things, but that wasn't really the case. And in digging deeper, I found that there was, statistically higher spending online shopping, higher spending with do-it-yourself projects around the house, so painting, more furniture, all of those kind of things that actually are high ticket items. Maybe upgrading the barbecue and laying new lawn, all of those kind of things. But then there's also increases in online gambling. There's increases in spending with online things of Menulog, Uber Eats, Jimmy Brings, Dan Murphy's. Increase of alcohol actually is quite a spike when in lockdown. So we're going to talk to you about how you can really stick to your goals and get sort of that mind over matter sort of theory happening, and some of the techniques that we money coaches use to help people really become aware of their behaviors, and some positive things that we can do to just keep you in check. So welcome again, Cara. Thanks so much for coming on board.
Great to be here, Amy. Thank you. And looking forward to having a chat today about how we can all, get through this next period of time, however long that is. Stick to our goals and really, be kind to ourselves, but also move forward towards, our financial freedom or financial independence goals, whatever they are for you.
Absolutely. And I guess that's really what we've got to remember is keeping, even creating vision boards. If some of you have time that I find during lockdown, I have less time because I have a family, and we're going to be with Braden's home in a couple of days. We're going to be doing homeschooling, and I have a toddler. So in some cases, some people don't have as much time, but if you do, maybe getting a vision board and actually or putting things up on your fridge and just physical reminders of the things you want to do are really good.
Getting really clear on that and having stuff to look forward to in the future as well, and what you're moving towards, what your goals are, getting that clarity, because if you do have the time, like you just said, Amy, it's a great time to have those reflections and, am I actually living in alignment with my goals and values? Am I actually spending and earning money in alignment with my goals and values? And the space, whilst it can be challenging, it also gives us that opportunity to really reflect in an environment where we have less external factors influencing us.
Absolutely. We spoke about, let's just sort of go to a topic of online shopping, because that's a really easy one that you can get trapped into, sort of go into the world. It's like, going down the rabbit hole of internet shopping.
Yeah.
What I've got a few tricks and things up my sleeve for how to deal with this. I guess we've also got to understand what's going on in the brain and the body for us to sort of get in that space and find ourselves in sort of the trance of putting things in the shopping cart.
Totally. And I mean, we've all been there at one point or another. But I really I liken this emotional spending. It can be quite related to, like, say, emotional eating or things that we do for other reasons. So we're not online shopping because we actually specifically want or need that item, it usually comes from boredom or anxiety or uncertainty or stress, or there's an underlying emotion or feeling that we're trying to suppress, and distracting ourselves by online shopping to get that immediate, like kind of quick dopamine hit. And then it's often, you know, felt with remorse or guilt later on. And certainly, you know, in a lot of cases, not meeting more medium to longer term financial goals. So really look at, you know, am I bored right now? Is there something else that I could be doing? You know, am I anxious? Am I scared? Am I, you know, things are very uncertain. So what's the underlying reason? But then some tools to, I guess, interrupt that pattern, to stop yourself is, firstly, don't online shop if you've had a glass of wine or a drink or multiple. If you want to browse, you know, pop them in the cart or your wish list and wait 24 hours.
That's what I do. That trick works a gem because that you've got the dope. It kind of is like getting a little bit of a rush. Woohoo! I've just done a bit of a shop. I've got a bit of a rush of putting things that I love and want and, you know, wish list into the cart. You get that, you know, dopamine surge, I should say, sorry. And then go away, have a cup of tea, get distracted, read a book or deal with family, whatever you need to do, forget about it. And when by the time I come back, I'm not interested in those items. I've actually thought about it and that guilt that you would have had when if you had bought is gone. Like that guilt then turns into actually more of a voice of reason for me. It's like you don't really need it. How about how you have a look at the overwhelming bursting wardrobe that you've already got? That's usually what I have to do.
Do a clean out.
Do a clean out, do actually a regroup of what you've got. I've got this wonderful stylist, Jessica, who comes and just, you know, repurposes my wardrobe. So why don't you do that and then actually go, do I really need these items, and do a bit of an inventory if you've got the time. But yeah, that's my trick. That going away for that 24 hours removes that feeling of remorse and guilt, and instead it gets replaced with justification of why I don't really need that, and a bit of a relief. I felt good playing online and picking out those wonderful items, but I really don't need them, and now I'm released of that feeling.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note as well, this isn't about coming from a lack perspective. If it's something that you truly love and you truly want, then that's absolutely fine, if it's coming from that place. But if it's coming from a, you know, oh my God, I can't have it, or I'm just buying a whole bunch of things to make me feel better, then
To fill in the time.
to stop. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because we're bored.
Yeah.
Or, you know, looking for an escape from the environment and the situation that we're currently in.
Yeah, and that's another thing, you know, you touched on is online shopping is one. It's also eating. So we're all capable to, I mean, if you're not that great of a cook, there's Marley Spoons, there's, what's the other one? There's a few great resources that they can actually deliver your groceries, and you end up saving money doing it that way, and also having delicious and healthy food that you're cooking yourself. But one thing I noticed last year was a huge surge in Uber Eats and menu log and whatnot when I'm looking at my clients' spending. So one of the things I do is a bit of a cash flow inventory for my clients. So I look at the last 90 days to ensure that they're on track with some of that, and their banking process is sort of automated and working for them. And there were quite a few clients that did fall over during the lockdown period, and it was because they just sort of, you know, eating out, or not eating out, they were eating in, but and also drinking more than they would normally and spending more than they would normally. So as you sort of said, don't do the online shopping when you've got a few wines and, you know, into you, because you're not making the clearest decision
Right.
either. But it comes down to, again, you know, why are we behaving this way? What's actually going on in our brains that cause us to actually completely lose sight of some of our personal goals, be it to be healthier or to save more money or to just be in more control of our financial position?
Yeah, so I think on the subconscious level, um, we we show up and attract whatever we're feeling. So in this moment, it's challenging for a lot of people to feel good right now.
Yeah.
I consider myself to be a fairly positive person. I've definitely had moments where I've struggled over the last few weeks. My travel plans have been thrown up in the air. I'm away from my family. I can't see my friends. It's challenging for a lot of people right now. But what we need to actually do is focus on how we're feeling and what little things. I'm not talking about big, things that are overwhelming, but what little things can we do to raise ourselves up the consciousness scale and raise our emotions? And the closer we can get to feeling good, to feeling joy, to feeling happiness, the more our external reality is going to reflect that. So little things, like we've been lucky enough to have amazing weather for most of this time. Go out and go for that walk in the sunshine. When you start to feel obsessively look at the news or look at numbers, stop yourself and do something that makes you feel good, like put some amazing music on and have a dance or do a home workout or read a book or call a loved one or go and speak to a loved one if you're living with them. What can you do to interrupt and change those feelings? Because we can be somewhere right now and feel that in our minds from where we're sitting, wherever we are in the world right now. But the key is to actually truly feel that.
Yeah. Yeah. It comes down to how we manifest and things like that. They always say when you actually have a vision or desire, you need to actually feel that
Yeah.
you're already experiencing what you desire. So you're putting and lining your body and your mind into that positive energetic framework. So this, we talked about it offline before. This situation that we're facing is we all kind of go on lockdown. We're restricted. We're restricted because we're telling ourselves we're restricted. Yes, we're locked down. We're inside. Of course, it's physically, we are limited to what we can do to a point. Like we can't go to a restaurant, we can't go to the movies, can't catch up with friends, can't travel, just exactly what you said. However, are we really imprisoned? No. Are we, are we in a really bad space? Most of us aren't. I mean, obviously, there's going to be people that are in a terrible relationship and they're stuck with the people that they don't really want to be with, and they've been escaping and going out and catching up with friends, and all of a sudden now they're stuck in the house. That's an unfortunate situation. The challenge here is now going and working on either skills like meditating, sort of using your mind to actually escape the situation in a positive way, and sort of a letting go of that feeling of being restricted and actually find the freedom in your own self and your own situation. And yes, going for the walk. I like to walk when I'm walking and letting my mind go into sort of a bit of the zone. I sort of use that concept of meditating, walking into my future. So I'm like walking in it, I'm walking in gratitude. I'm stepping, every time I take a step, I'm stepping into a place of gratitude, and I'm stepping into a place of positivity. And I'm always looking for all the wonderful things that I can see around me. So if I'm near a park, I'm looking at the beautiful green leaves or the flowers, or the sky and the differences. So it's again letting your mind actually be in charge of the situation. So an example of me not letting my mind be in charge of the situation was last night. I've been on this health kick for so long, and everyone's eating beautiful roast dinner with potatoes and red wine. And I just went, I'm in lockdown. I have to do this, and completely blew it. And then I got really upset with myself because I told myself, because I'm in lockdown, I'm going to throw this out the window. So it's just about really being aligned and being clear on what we want. So we can do that with our finances, we can do that with our health, we can do that with how we feel and be in charge of our emotions.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to, what we can and can't control. So obviously there are certain things right now which are outside of our control. And as challenging as it can be, we need to stop worrying about things that are outside of our control and focus on the things that we can control. So your example there is something that you can control. We can't go out for dinner. We can't get on a plane and go to another state or another country, but we can control, how we feel and what we eat and the things that we surround ourselves with right in this moment. So it's really around, differentiating between what's in our control and what isn't, and making a conscious decision. And it is a conscious decision to focus on what you can control. Now, we also go back to, our emotional home, or what we've always done throughout our lives in particular in times of crisis and in times of uncertainty like we're in right now. So it's a really great opportunity, if you do have the time, to focus on, is that how you want to continue thinking and believing? And if it's not, what can you do to learn about, to grow and develop? And, can you start meditating? Can you start visualizing and, getting into that feeling of what you are trying and wanting to attract into your life? This can be an absolutely amazing opportunity. And actually, one exercise that I did when we first went into lockdown last year, it was something that I got from Marie Forleo, was listing out the reasons why this could be the best possible thing that could have happened.
That's a great one. I actually was going to suggest another, when you started talking about this, another exercise is writing down, and this is a good friend of mine, Michelle, gave me this, Michelle Hoskins, who's known as Little Miss Wow in our industry from International Standards. She's a fabulous woman. She created this sort of map, basically, of how you can really frame your future self. And it's a great exercise. And I'll actually put the link on this after this podcast, because if we've got the time, it's important to, one, reflect about some of the past and understand and actually see our behaviours. So I have thankfully been through the training to be a money coach. And one of the biggest lessons I learned is that our past does not have to define us, but our past gives us the key to what we need to change if we want to change for the better. So looking at the past, we've got to see our patterns and our behaviours. And if you're sort of one of those people that as soon as you're told, no, you can't do that, you're going to break out to rebellion, being in lockdown is certainly going to be a massive challenge. So it's then about going, well, I know that that's a pattern, that's a behaviour. And as soon as I feel restricted, I do something, I do react. Okay, what is it that you want to change? In this case, being, obviously sensibility is all about finances and wanting to improve our financial position, but it doesn't need to be that. It can be anything. But if I'm going to use money as an example, because we're just keeping to the topic of money coaching, you want to change your financial position, and you're not going out to dinners and theatre and sporting events over the next, say, 4 to 6 weeks, potentially. Work out how much money you're thinking to save. And then sort of put that up on the fridge, put that some visually, and then maybe go and do something like, because that's actually very achievable. You've got the time to do it. So when we're going to go and do the impulse spending or the menu log or whatever the case may be, you've got a figure already worked out in front of you that you can go, I can actually achieve that. The other exercise is, going to do that. Who I really want to become. I know my past is this, but it doesn't define me. It's just teaching me what I don't really want, habits I want to change, and who I really want to become. So that exercise that Michelle gave me was all of the areas: spiritually, who I want to be, mentally, from a career point of view, from a relationship point of view, from a friendship point of view, from a philanthropic point of view. So, do I want to be giving into my community? And then obviously financial. What does that look like? And also have a goal date. It's important to set a goal date. So you might want to physically change your body over a period of time. It doesn't happen straight away. It's going to take time. So be realistic about, when do I want to achieve that? And then go and find an accountability buddy. Don't do it on your own.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And this is a great opportunity to go back and, look at the last 90 days. What have you been spending? Where has your money been flowing? And is that in alignment with your values? And is that where you want your money to be flowing? And it also gives you a guide for now. And it's like, okay, well, this is what I did over the last 90 days. I know, well, let's hope it's not the next 90 days, but let's say the next little while, is, our lifestyle is going to look slightly different. Consciously, mindfully make a decision. Well, I'm going to have this amount or this percentage or this dollar amount that I can spend on Uber Eats, and that's my treat for the week. Or and this is the amount of money I'm going to spend on online shopping. So it becomes conscious and you're aware of what you're doing, as opposed to it being mindless and unconscious. Because then we're actually making decisions that will move us forward, and it gives you guide rails and goalposts and something to achieve, to work towards. Incorporate saving or even investment goals into that. And I know this was something that I did during lockdown last year. It was quite basic. It was literally a circle, and I ended up with split in 8, because I think we were in lockdown for 8 weeks. And I had a savings goal, and I literally coloured in the section of that circle each week as I met that savings goal. But I also allowed myself to have other things as well. So it wasn't coming from a super restrictive manner. It was coming from a very aware, conscious, this is the decision that I'm making around my flow of money right now.
And that's a key thing to consider, the word conscious. Successful, the successful process of money coaching is about the awareness and your consciousness. We do touch a lot over the concept of neuroscience and how much of our decision making is done subconsciously. And on top of that, there's also what we're addicted to when we're making these subconscious decisions. Sorry, we're making decisions subconsciously, where also our bodies are addicted to certain chemicals. So we might find ourselves, while we go online shopping, for example, if in the past we were impulse shopping outside, or we were very social and needed to, and someone called us, and off the drop of the hat, we're out and about socializing. That releases sort of dopamines. We're addicted to doing something. We're driven. Our bodies are designed to be in fight and flight. And if we're used to constantly being in a stress zone, or a zone where our bodies get these feel good chemicals, then we're constantly going to find those chemicals in other areas of our lives. So what's going to happen in lockdown is whatever you've been doing outside is going to continuously occur inside. So that's why we're talking about really being specific about your goals, being specific about what you want, and being very conscious about it. And again, going back, looking at your past and looking at things and behaviors and patterns that you really do want to change, and also being very clear about why. Nothing's
Yeah.
going to actually go forward if if you don't have that true conviction to why you want to make some changes. So you've got to really be aware of your values and goals. And both Cara and I can assist you, or anyone who's listening, or friends that you might be stuck with this. But it's once you really get a clear, definitive understanding of what really makes you tick and really is going to drive you in the direction you want to take your life, it's quite an incredibly liberating experience. But the key and the first step is being consciously aware of all that you're doing and where you're heading.
Absolutely. And, I have read and heard of a stat that 95% of the time we're operating from our subconscious and our program.
Scary.
So it is, but it's also an amazing opportunity, because if we can reprogram our subconscious to be what we want it to be in alignment with where we're heading and where we want to go, then that's super powerful. But we've got 20, 40, 50 years of programming that we need to reprogram. We need to reprogram that subconscious, so we subconsciously believe that it's possible for us. And so our body is in that feeling as well. And it goes back to what we were talking about before, where we attract what we're feeling rather than what we're thinking. So we need to get back into the body and really feel. So I'll give you an example. If you are wanting to attract more money or more wealth into your life, how can you feel more prosperous? How can you feel that emotional what you feel when you have that money? Because if you're just thinking and feeling, I want more money, then you're just going to stay in vibration where you want more money. It doesn't actually come to you. How can you actually feel what it would feel like when you have that money? What emotions will you feel? Will you be smiling? Will you be joyful? Will you be happy? Does it enable you to do and really go to that moment and feel it? One way I find really helpful for myself to get into that kind of vibration is to go back and think about, what are 2 times in your life that have brought you so much joy and happiness? And go back to that moment and feel it. Like, go back and really experience that again. What are 2 times in your life where you've felt really so much pride in yourself? Go back and experience those feelings again. What are 2 moments in your life where you have felt so much love? And again, go feel those feelings. And same for gratitude. So what this does is it starts to rewire our neural pathways. It starts to reprogram our thoughts and beliefs to higher emotions and a higher vibration. And when we're vibrating at a higher level, we attract more things. We attract better things, because whether we like it or not, in every moment of every day, we're manifesting.
100%.
So consciously manifest what you actually want. Don't subconsciously manifest what you don't want.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I actually have created a vibrational chart so that my clients can visually see when they're in a negative space, how that actually can physically and mentally affect them. But on a vibrational level, when they've got these, great goals, how far away they are pulling themselves back from getting there because of that level of energy that can really bring you down. And then also bringing back to what I said is, we are subconsciously addicted to certain chemicals that our bodies create and hormones our bodies create with emotion. So if we can rewire and change that, we then lose that addiction to those negative chemicals and become more addicted to more positive. It's actually going to be a win-win situation, not just a win-win. It just has actually a compounding positive ramification to achieving not just money goals, but in all areas of life. I wanted to also add to what you said, Cara, in respect to when you're asking, wanting to manifest more money. It's, we touched on really looking at how much you've had in the past and like the last 90 days and going, okay, but because I was out and about doing this and that and the other, I won't be spending X and I'll be able to achieve this. But when one thing I find is if you have actually a reason, purpose, and actually a clear outcome for what that is going to look like. So if you're going, I want to be wealthier, I want to have X amount of dollars in the bank, I want to be able to buy property, I want to do this, that, and the other, or I want to have these holidays. Really need to align. Again, we talked about it before. What the purpose is. What does that look like? Along with how that feels, be very specific, not just I want more money. Why do you want more money? How much money? What are you going to do with it?
And
where's it going to go?
yeah, 100% agree. And we talked about this offline as well, and it's like, what do you want money to provide for you? So do you want more time freedom? Do you want location independence? Do you want to feel safe? Do you want to feel secure? Do you want to be able to provide a certain, life for your family, for your children, so they can have opportunities? What is it that you want it to provide you and help you achieve, I guess, but more from a feeling perspective? And when we drill down and get to that level, that's when it becomes effortless to stick to the plan. Because it's not, oh, I want an investment property because everyone has one and that's like the cool thing to do, or I want an SMSF because, then I can talk to my friends, they've all got one. Like, why? How do you want to live your life, and how is that going to help you achieve that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, one of the things, obviously, I'm in the game of financial planning and money coaching. So I see the good, the bad, the ugly, and like the biggest challenge for most people who come to see me, either for as a money coach, and you probably agree with this, Cara, and you've sat with both hats on as well, so you experience both roles, is that the desire is there, the motivation 100% is there, but what's lacking is strategy, actually knowing what the outcome really is, what is the goal, what's the end goal. And you see a lot of people earning great money and just throwing money over that way. Oh, I'll go and get an investment property, or I might buy some shares, I'll just put some money in those ETFs. I don't know what I'm doing in my super. Oh gosh, I've got 4 super funds because I haven't consolidated. It's all over the place. It can get really, really messy. So one of the exercises when you're going through setting money goals, do a bit of a recce on what you've got and where you are, because sometimes people think they have got nothing. But when you actually collect it all, it's quite impressive of what they've got.
Absolutely.
And another thing to do when you're looking at your worth and value, and you might be feeling a bit down about yourself, maybe you actually have gone online, bought a crap load of clothes that you don't need, and you're beating yourself up, is go and have a look at how much you've earned the last 12 months. Then think about how many years you've worked. Calculate all of that, not to give yourself a small heart attack. No, this is actually to look at, oh my gosh, I have actually worked X amount of years and accumulated in terms of experience, opportunities, lifestyle, this amount in money. And it could be in our dollars, it's if you've been working 20 years, it's definitely over $1 million, most likely for the average person. So when you think about it like that, you then change your game all very quickly and go, if I have created by working just myself, what other great things can I do? So there's so many wonderful tricks we can play on our minds to turn our attitudes around and turn our goals into realities.
Totally. Absolutely agree. So yeah, maybe we summarize the key points, key takeaways is from today. So I think there's two sides of it, really, the mindset side and then the actual practical side of, practical tips of what to do. So on the mindset side, around really recognizing if you're spiraling or if you're in this really kind of lack and, feeling down. And I'm not saying it's not okay to feel emotions, but we can't kind of, unpack and live there, right? So feel the emotions. It's a challenging, uncertain time. But then, what can you do to bring yourself further up that consciousness scale and, further into joy? Because how we feel is what we're attracting and what we're manifesting. And, it's good to feel good. It's okay to feel good right now.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's, as I said, it's going to be a win-win-win-win if you are lifting your vibration.
Exactly. So really, look at that and what can you do to bring those small moments of joy or bigger moments of joy into your life right now. And then practically look at, what you have been spending over the last 90 days. Look at where you want to direct that money over the next, say, 30, 60, 90 days. What are your financial goals moving forward and why? Like, try and really understand, what is it that you want your money to achieve for you? Is it freedom? Is it independence? Is it security? Is it safety? What is it? And once you get clear on that, the actual sticking to the plan is going to be so much easier. So, and then the online shopping tips, no online shopping if you've had a drink or a few drinks, and leave things in the cart for 24 hours to make sure that you're not doing it out of boredom or, anxiety or stress, that, it may be 24 hours later and you're like, yeah, actually, I do still really want those items, and that's completely fine.
Absolutely.
But it just adds that kind of pattern interrupt and that stop from making decisions that you may later regret and that aren't moving you closer towards your ultimate goals. So I don't know if you've probably got a few other tips to add to that as well.
Look, I think they're the crux of the key things that we came onto the podcast to really focus and talk on. And as you can hear, both Cara and I have bucket loads of tips and tricks and strategies that could really propel somebody from, a basic financial goal to really kicking some big, amazing goals, because it really is about understanding our brains and there's some amazing strategies. So I don't want to go into too much. I think we've given some really clear direction. The key thing is, be visual, put some goals. I'm a big believer in visual goals as well. Put something on the fridge. If you're like me right now, I've been trying to lose baby weight from having my daughter last year. So I've been really on this massive health kick, not drinking or anything like that. So, I have, I haven't yet. I'm going to, because I've actually said to my family yesterday, do not offer this to me. Do not. So I've actually sent a message to everybody in my world so that they're on board. But I'm also going to put this little reminder on the fridge as well when people are in the kitchen. It's not for me. So same thing. If you are, if you're by yourself or with family, explain to family what you're doing if you're putting stuff on the fridge, because they might go, what the hell is that dollar figure about? But if you're looking in 90 days and going, I want to save all of this because I'm no longer going out for dinner and I spend $200 a week at restaurants with friends and on cocktails, then work out how much is that going to be for 4 weeks, work out how much it's going to be in 6 weeks, and work out a little treat for yourself that you will give or do so that you've got something to look forward to as well. So that's the other key is, you don't want to be in a situation where you're restricting. You want to actually go, what's the game plan here? Why am I doing it? Well, I'm doing it because I want to build a portfolio. I'm doing it because I want a holiday. All of those things can be incredibly satisfying. Or you want to do that and also go on, get a facial or go for a spa. Who knows? But it's your plan. It's your life. But hopefully, Cara and I have given you some some great tips and tricks that can get you on track to kick some financial goals and life goals during this lockdown period.
Yeah, so stay safe, everyone. Take care. Look after yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. But it's also a great opportunity um, to really reflect and perhaps, you know, choose to do things differently moving forward.
Yeah, excellent. And don't be a stranger. Reach out to both of us. We're both on social media. I have two websites: Recap Advice, Financial Planning Business, and then Sensibilities, where my podcasts and online courses and webinars will be. That's under construction at the moment, but we also got look out for that on Facebook and Instagram, and you can find me as Amy Baker in LinkedIn. Cara is the same. You've got Savvy Wealth on Instagram and Facebook, and you're on LinkedIn. So we can be contactable. You can reach out to us. Both of us do. We both practice differently with money coaching. Cara sort of does that full-time, hands-on approach. So she does it differently to me. So if you are after sort of that kind of coaching, definitely reach out to Cara. I sort of incorporate it more with the financial planning piece as well. So anyway, hopefully we hear from you. I'd love feedback. Have a wonderful day. Take care and look after yourselves during lockdown. Oh, and we will do another series on this soon.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you, Cara.